binary search tree, find the lowest common ancestor node of two given nodes in the BST. According to the definition of LCA on Wikipedia, the lowest common ancestor is defined between two nodes P and Q as the lowest node in T that has both P and Q as descendants, where we allow a node to be a descendant of itself. Okay. Now, so what the question says is that we're given a tree over here like this, right? And we're given two nodes P and Q, right? And we need to find the common ancestor, lowest common ancestor of them, right? What does that mean? It basically just means you need to find the very first most common element between the two nodes, most common node between the two given nodes, right? If you have P as 2 and Q as 8, the very first common node both of them have is 6, right? That will be the lowest common ancestor both of them have, right? So basically, you just need to find the most lowest or the very first node which is common to both of these nodes. And it can be also a node which is a descendant of itself, which means that if you have something like this over here, 2 and P is equal to 2 and Q is equal to 4, right? If you have P is equal to 2 and Q is equal to 4, now 2 can be a descendant of itself. So the lowest common node which these two nodes have is going to be 2, right? So this is what the question is. Now, if we had something like 3 and 7, the most common first common node they both would have been 6. If it would have been 7 and 9, it would have been 8. If it would have been 8 and 9, it would have been 8 again. If it would have been 0 and 8, it would have been 6. If it would have been 0 and 4, it would have been 2, etc., and so on. Right. So this is what the question is, guys. And now, how are you going to solve this problem? The problem is pretty straightforward, right? Because you just need to check whether P and Q are greater than the current node or are they lesser than the current node. If they're lesser than the current node, right? Which means that you would need to traverse the left hand side of the node to find the lowest common ancestor, right? In this case, P and Q are 2 and 4. When we start traversing the node, we check both of them with 6 first. Now 6 is greater than both of them. So we know that the lowest common ancestor is gonna be in the left hand side of the tree. Now the same goes for if we would have something like 7 and 8. Right. If P was 7 and Q was 8, we know that both of them are greater than 6. So we would have to traverse the right hand side of the tree in this case. Right. So when we know that this is gonna be the case. Now once we find out which side you need to traverse, you can just easily just compare both of the elements. What I mean by that is, firstly, let me just show you what the code is, right? You just need to compare these two things, whether it's greater than or lesser than, right? If it's not the case in either of them, right, we'll just return the root. Firstly, why are we traversing it like this while true, right? Because we know that we are going to get an answer in this case. There is no possible outcome where you don't get an answer, so you can just traverse it in such a fashion so that the loop continues to go on. It can be anything, right? You can even just write while root over here. Doesn't matter if you write while true or not. Okay, now what are we going to do? First, we're checking whether the two nodes are greater than or lesser than the current node or not. In this case, when we have 2 and 4, both of them are lesser, right? Since both of them are lesser, we'll follow this question, this elif code over here, and we'll go to the root dot left. We'll go to the left hand side of the tree. When we go to the left hand side of the tree, we reach root is equal to root dot left, so we make the root equal to 2. Now we'll check again. Is our q is greater than our current root dot val, but our current p is not greater than root dot val. It's equal to it. It's not greater than, it's not lesser than, it's equal to it, right? So if it is equal, what we'll do is we'll just go to the else section of this and we'll just return the root of it, right? And you'll get 2 as our outcome over here, right? This is a very simple way to solve this problem, and it's a very simple question as well. And let's say if we had something like this as a question over here, what we would have done, we would have just checked 2 and 8 over here. 2 is less than 6 and 8 is greater than 6, right? We would have just returned root over here in this case, because both of these conditions are not true. Only this is, we'll just go to the else and we'll just return true in this case. Sorry, root in this case, which is 6. That would have been an output, right? So this is how you solve the problem, guys. So let's just run the code. Yeah, and let's submit it. Yeah, it's submitted, guys. So yeah, that's all for today's video, guys. If you like the video, do like, share, and subscribe. Do let me know in the comments what kind of videos you want next on the channel. Also, let me know what I can do better to explain concepts to you guys. And do check out my podcast as well. Do follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.